Welcome, Blue Believers, to another episode of the Stamford Sync, where we are syncing up with everything Chelsea FC. And today is the first in a new series that I am doing during the international break of podcast-style stuff. We're going to get in deep with some topics. Today, I've brought on Kai from Behind the Dugouts, and we're going to talk about Cole Palmer. It is time to talk about Cole Palmer. But before we get into it, Kai, how you doing, bro?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. I think this 2 weeks has been a bit of a blessing. Not gonna lie, I needed the break. I couldn't do the Everton review. I couldn't do the Everton game. That PSG game killed me, man.
Yeah, I don't blame you, man. Don't blame you.
And this break was needed.
Yeah,
big time.
It's wild, isn't it? Because me and you both started doing this content creation at basically the same time, and we started on such a high with like the Club World Cup and stuff. Yeah. And now we're here, and it's like, oh, so this is the hard part. This is the rough part. You've got to get on and do it all the time, haven't you? So today we've decided to talk about Cole Palmer because we have had lots of conversations about Cole Palmer throughout the season, from the beginning of the season. Do you know what I mean? Hoping that last season was a bit of a blip because obviously he was injured a lot and it kind of came down to that. We've also had some conversations about whether his poor form was a little bit due to Maresca coaching the magic out of him. But we are nearly 3 months into Liam Rosenior's tenure, and Cole Palmer is not the magic wizard of old that we absolutely love. So let's talk about Cole Palmer. Kai, what do you think?
It's quite an extensive question on this one because with Palmer, we all know what he can do when he's on it, when he's fully fit and apparently under a very specific type of manager. It gives him a specific type of freedom, at least from my eyes. But how much has this injury affected him, I suppose, is one of the bigger questions. Yeah. Because it's not something that happened this season. It's something that was, occurring last season, and we saw how much he dipped then, but still managed to produce a few moments of magic. I mean, more notably in, the Conference League final, where he decided to turn it on for half an hour and absolutely rinse them. But it's a tough one, man. It's not. Again, it's another question. Does he make us worse when he's on the pitch right now?
It's a tough one, isn't it? You never want to admit that.
No.
It's kind of like the Mo Salah at Liverpool thing, isn't it? At the start of this season in particular, where it was like a lot of people were starting to call for Mo Salah to be dropped, and there was a lot of like, oh, but you can't drop Mo Salah because he's Mo Salah, and you're right, it feels like that with Cole Palmer as well, doesn't it? I guess there's so many things. Like the injury is obviously a massive one. One thing in particular for me that I only just thought about a minute ago, the only quality coach that Cole Palmer has had at Chelsea really was Pochettino. Yeah. Now, was Pochettino's tactical style a good fit for the team we have and the team we had? Not really, because it was largely based on athleticism, not much in the way of tactics and technique. But it does strike me as interesting that Cole Palmer has performed his absolute best under Mauricio Pochettino, who has worked with the likes of Heung-min Son and Harry Kane and these big attacking talents and stuff. Do you think that might have anything to do with it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you mentioned Son. Palmer, for me personally, I prefer him in a 10. However, coming in, he was that right-sided player. I mean, even under Pep, he played more on that right-hand side, cutting inside.
It's called that banger in the FA Cup for City.
Exactly. And Son, though he wasn't a 10, he was a winger that he always used to cut inside and was a very... I mean, I loved Son. I thought he was brilliant and was gutted that he was actually at Spurs, to be honest.
So was he, probably.
Yeah, probably, yeah. He got out at the right time before they went downhill. But Poch's tactics suited the attackers more. I mean, it was evident.
Nicholas Jackson had his best season with us under Poch as well.
Even at Tottenham, they were a decent attacking team, but they let themselves down defensively, and exactly the same with us. So in terms of Cole Palmer, I think Poch probably has been the best coach, even more so than Pep, in terms of getting the best out of him and his style and the way that he wants to use the football.
Because Poch was really big on man management and player freedom, wasn't he? Those were like his two kind of big mantras. Yeah,
but then Liam Rosenior, bless his cotton socks, not having a great time right now. He's tried the same kind of approach. Now,
but there's always
doesn't have the
with the rest of the team, though. So I agree with you completely. He's definitely tried that with Cole Palmer. Here's your freedom. Go and play how you want, and put an arm around his shoulder and stuff. But we're playing out from the back, and it's very formulaic kind of thing.
He's almost trying to meld two styles into one, like having the and it's hard to even say this because defensively we were just terrible. Having like a tight defensive structure and a free flowing, do what you want attack. Yeah. Which it just doesn't. It doesn't work. Clearly,
not yet.
Not
yet. With the players we've got, absolutely doesn't work. No,
not even the club. I mean, I call it suicide football. That's what we're playing at the moment because that's what it is. Yeah. But it doesn't suit. It's not suiting Cole Palmer. I can't say it doesn't because never know what the future. And by the sounds of it, he's not going anywhere for a while. Unfortunately, no. Just from what's coming out. So it's can he adapt? Can he find a way to make Cole Palmer work again? I don't know.
I guess this is the question, isn't it, though? Because it could be like a marriage of lots of negative situations. Like maybe if Cole Palmer hadn't just come off of that injury, maybe this would be working better for him. But obviously his confidence took a massive knock for a while, didn't it? Like throughout the Maresca term towards last December, wasn't it? No, not even like a year ago from last December, like December 24 was when Cole Palmer's injury issues started flaring up, and that coincided with our massive drop-off in form. So that's been like a year plus of Cole Palmer missing loads of games, not being at his absolute like best magic attacking self sort of thing. And then also spending that time with Maresca being in quite a stodgy, rigid system, which maybe didn't suit him so much. And maybe it is like all of those things kind of together, even though Rosinia has been like, go and have your freedom or whatever. Maybe it's just not enough. And the thing is, I have a feeling that if we were performing better as a team, Cole Palmer would be doing better. I feel like he'd feed off it a little bit. Do you know what I mean? Like if our defence wasn't quite so woeful. Do you know what I mean? And Robert Sanchez wasn't like popping him in the back of his own net or whatever.
Yeah, but then when you look at Poch's season, we weren't particularly playing well, but he was outstanding.
That's a great shot. Yeah, that's true.
So it's he seems to, and this is like, I want to make this very apparent, right? This is not a Cole Palmer needs to go thing. Like, this guy is unbelievable, and I want him to stay, and I just want him to find the magic again. But he looks like he's just lost it, and either it's potentially could just be he's lost the love for football. Not obviously not for good, but just from all the circumstances and everything that's going on, the injury, the frustration. I mean, it was even when he came back under Rosinia. I can't remember what game it was. I want to say it was a cup game, but he like sat down on the floor holding his leg, and I thought, oh my God, he's gone again. And then he still played the next game, and I think maybe it's not fully over. Maybe it's still something similar to how Reece James was when he came back. He didn't want to exert himself because he was worried that it was going to happen again. And maybe that's holding him back. I don't know. But when I look PSG, the balls that he was receiving, I mean, the one clear one for me was when they scored I want to say their second goal off the counter, where the ball's come across, he's received it on the penalty area, right? Yeah. And I could put my house on it. Cole Palmer receiving that ball, he's scoring. It's just something that you don't expect. It's not something that you even believe is possible from a player of his talent. Yeah. And we're seeing it so often now. Something something's wrong mentally, something's wrong physically, and like you said, I think it's all coming together, and it has created this warm Palmer, because he ain't cold anymore.
tepid Palmer.
Like, and it's so sad to see. Like, it's so sad.
No, yeah, it is. You're right. And you know what? I think there is one other thing as well that we don't talk about. Like, so Cole Palmer's still a young kid, man. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. In the grand scheme of things. And the Pochettino season, look, it's always easy to do well when you're doing well, isn't it? If you're having a good day at work, you smash it whilst you're feeling good and while things are going well. Yeah. So what happened to Cole Palmer is obviously that drop in form led to his first big negative press exposure over the next year as well. Do you know what I mean? Pundits, fans, content creators, do you know what I mean? You know, we talk about it. Some people are a lot harsher than others. That is just how it is. Do you know what I mean? That is just how it is. And for him, like, I remember one thing, for instance, like he lived with his mum in Manchester and moving to London and moving to Chelsea. It's the first time he's like lived on his own and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I do think the human aspect of it might be quite at play here as well. Like we're looking at Cole Palmer not just coming back from the injury, it's almost like a mental injury as well, because you know he was on top of the world. He was scoring in the Euros final. He was being talked about as one of the best players, if not the best player in the Premier League in that season.
Yeah.
Even at the start of the Maresca season, he puts 4 away against Brighton in a half.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like breaks another record. And then obviously things dropped off from December there. And like I say, that exposed him to, like I say, the first massive like negative press run. You know, and he did come out and talk about it a little bit, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll try not to listen and stuff." But the truth be told, I think we saw that in him for a long time, because I can't remember which game it was. It was just after he'd come back and he scored a goal and just looked completely devoid of emotion and happiness.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He literally scored, and there was, you know, Liam Delap won him the penalty. I think that was the one actually. Liam Delap wins in the penalty.
And he didn't celebrate.
No, didn't celebrate. Not only did he not celebrate, he looked miserable. Do you know what I mean? He looked really, really unhappy. So, and that obviously caused the majority of the rumours that we're hearing at the moment that are still going on about Cole Palmer maybe wanting to go to Manchester United. So I think that might be part of it as well, to be completely honest. With, you know, it, like you know, like we said, kind of the marriage of things, really, going from being a 20-year-old who's the best player in the Premier League and scoring in the Euros final to completely falling off and experiencing that, you know, really feeling away from home at that point. Do you know what I mean? Because like I say, it's easy when everything's going well, when everyone's talking about you in a positive light. It's like, yeah, life's wicked and that. But all of a sudden, when you've got all of this other stuff coming at you and you haven't got your family around you and, you know, there's no chippy chips. Like the chippies in London, like I tell you this for nothing, mate. The chippies in London are nowhere near as good as the chippies up north as well. Up north chippies is top tier. So yeah, you know, I do think that would be a big part of it as well. So that leads me to an interesting question, actually, just sort of while we're talking about this. How realistic do you think the noise is? And this isn't just about the Man United thing. Like, obviously, we're hearing about Enzo Fernandez quite a lot at the moment. Yeah. And that is breeding a conversation about our big players wanting to leave. Now, things have come out in the press saying that's not the case or whatever, but how realistic do you think it is that Cole Palmer leaves next season?
I think it's going to be Champions League dependent.
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
So
mainly because, look, there's clear unrest amongst the players now, and that is down to stability, because there ain't none. There is no stability within the football club right now, and we know who to thank for that. But when you add something that's out of the player's control, which is a financial issue, it's not down to them anymore. You know, if they're already feeling unrest and they're not happy with the stability, and someone gives them a lifeline, and then is also married with, well, the club needs to produce funds. It becomes a more easier decision. Look, I'm not going to sit here and go, Cole Palmer bleeds blue. Because he doesn't. He is a footballer. He's employed, and he's given us some very special moments, some very special seasons. So I'm not going to sit here and go, if he decides to leave, I'm going to hate him for the rest of my life. I'm going to be gutted, but I'm not going to sit here like. No, you know, there's very few players, and it's, to be fair, no players nowadays, but there's very few. Mind you, Moises Caicedo had a lovely sweet thing in the presser about wanting to become a legend, but there's very few players in this day and age that will just ride out their career at your club. That there will come a time, and because of how football is now financially, it plays even more of a factor, and we've seen some of the disheartening and the frankly laughable news that is coming out about our financial situation, which could be even worse. Do we not get Champions League football? And these players will be on the market. And let's be real, we've got quite a few top players that are going to go for top money, but you know, there is one immediately that most clubs are going to try and snap your hands off again, and that will be Cole, especially if they know that there is even just a small piece of unhappiness in there. Because once that small piece, you get into that, you can make that
I get
bigger.
that. I get that. So I want to pick you up on a couple of things there, actually. The first one is you mentioned about the financial situation. So what I assume you're referring to is the report that came out a little while ago that was for the 24-25 season, right? So there's another thing that's come out since then. Our current finances are in good shape.
Yeah.
So we are actually in a position to go in and spend in the summer. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I do agree that if we don't get Champions League, which is something else I want to get into in a minute, actually, we will probably have to sell someone, but I think that person will be Enzo Fernandez.
Yeah.
And I think that will probably be it in terms of the big players. Yeah. I don't think Cole Palmer. So the only, are Man United going to come in with 150 mil for Cole Palmer? Do you reckon?
I mean, they seem to find freaking 100 mil somewhere they wasted 80 mil on Anthony. Come on. And it's Man United, at least from when I watch, have never been in a financial. Them, Barcelona, that these clubs never seem to have money.
Yeah,
but always seem to have money in the transfer window.
Yeah.
They will, if they want him desperately, they will find him. Now, I don't buy into this. Oh, he's a Man United fan. Of course, everybody was some fan of a club. To me, that doesn't make much of a difference in terms of the football.
I just don't see him going anywhere else. I don't think he'd go back
in
to
terms
City.
Of the logistical wise, if he wants to go back to Manchester and being around, he's not going to go back to City, nor I think they would.
But even any other top clubs, I don't see him going to Arsenal. I don't think Arsenal are dropping 150 mil on Cole Palmer. They've got Eze, they've got Odegaard, and Cole Palmer will be looking at the way that they're playing and be like, I've got no interest in that.
Yeah.
Because it wins titles and stuff, but it will not let him express himself at all. And as we've talked about, Cole Palmer's at his best when he gets to express himself. Liverpool, no. I don't think after dropping that much on Wirtz and other players, I don't see them coming in. I don't really see a Real Madrid coming in for him, to be completely honest. Like I say, I think they're pretty stocked for attackers in that respect at the moment. I have a feeling they might go in for Haaland, depending on what goes on with City. PSG, no, I don't think so. They, again, they could probably afford him, but Desiree Doué, Bradley Barcola, Ousmane Dembele, Kvaratskhelia, do you know what I mean? It's like they are stocked with really, really good players as well. They've got Kim Min-jae who just sits on the bench and stuff. Like, they're attacking wise isn't their issue at the moment. They need to sort out their midfield if they, based on a PSG fan that I spoke to. So, in all honesty, the only team that I think would go in for Cole Palmer is Man United. Not even because of the Man United fan thing, but Michael Carrick. Does Cole Palmer go, I'm desperate to go and play for Michael Carrick? They're talking about Luis Enrique, but I'm not convinced that will happen. Do you know what I mean?
Man United?
Yeah.
Why would he leave PSG right now?
Well, this is kind of my point. So it's like, I think, and look, you've only got to look at the Mason Mount situation.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like Mason Mount did exactly the same thing, went to United, loads of money, absolutely torrid time. Really, really bad time over there. So I don't think it's as simple as, I think that I think he'd probably ideally want to go back to City if he could go anywhere, but their situation obviously with the charges and stuff. So this is what I mean, and this is without even talking about the fact that if Chelsea don't want to sell him, they won't sell him. Do you know what I mean? Because so the Enzo Fernandez thing to me looks like it's going to be the first real big test of the long contract model.
Yeah.
In general, because Enzo Fernandez is on until 2030. Cole Palmer's till 2032. So Cole Palmer's still got 6 years left on his deal. Enzo Fernandez has got 4 years left on his deal, so he can't agitate for a move because he won't ride out his contract until he's 29, will he?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If you've got a year or two left, you can talk about it. But for me personally, I hear this noise about Cole Palmer going, and you've said it yourself, because of the financial structure of football right now. Yeah. I think it's very unlikely that anyone comes in for him apart from Man United, and I'm not convinced he'd just jump. I mean,
it's not going to be easy, but it's not going to be as difficult as you think it would be.
Yeah, okay.
It's not. I mean, we've seen players move for extraordinary amounts of money in tighter times. Like if clubs want somebody, they find a way. It's just what it is. I mean, we found a way to loophole everything. In a blink of an eye. So
it's like that's a British transfer record for someone who scored 10 goals this season, though. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but again, it's knowing what he can do. That's the thing. For him, if this was his first season, of course, no one's slapping that kind of money on him. But they've seen what he can do. Even last season, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't to his standards. It was
14,
terrible.
14, 15 goals last season. It was still good.
But as I said, in terms of his standards, it was terrible. But it's not terrible. But they have seen what he can do when when all circumstances come together, and it fits perfectly. So though it may be difficult, I wouldn't rule it out as a possibility, like a absolutely no go. Again, if a player is really unhappy, and you'll never know unless it comes from the player's mouth, you're never going to know. You can take every sad face, and Cole Palmer always looks sad, like depressed. That's just how he is. He's that kind of guy.
Just a moody guy.
Yeah, he's never smiling. But honestly, I don't care. Like I'm worried about what he does on the pitch, not if what his pearly whites look like. To be honest, so you know what I mean. But he's not that kind of guy. But if he is really that unhappy, that can cause a lot of other problems within the squad. And most times, the club looks to move the player on to benefit not just them financially, but benefit the state of the squad. Because if you've got a load of those kind of players that are unhappy, it can cause a massive rift through the squad, absolutely. Which they could, and we don't know how bad it is, and we don't know if it even is like that. But if it is really necessary, I don't think the fact that he's on a 6-year deal, or the fact that he's going to cost a lot of money, would stop them from A, trying to sell him, or B, for anyone trying to come in from him. I think there will be some kind of way.
I think if someone comes in with mental money, like I say, 120, let's say 120, let's be generous, and that's still a British transfer record. Oh, no, actually, Isaac was 125, wasn't he?
Yeah.
So they probably want a British transfer record, let's be honest. Even just because Isaac went for 125, they'll probably say we're not selling him for less than 130, just based on that itself, because they will deem his value to be higher than Isaac's long term, for sure. If someone comes in with the crazy money, I agree. But my thing isn't so. I don't think they will want to sell him. Do you know what I mean? I don't think they'll look, even if he's like, I'm a little bit unhappy here. I think they'll say to him, "You've got a 6-year deal. You're not going anywhere because we don't want you to." If someone comes in with crazy money, like anyone in the squad, if someone comes in, even after you just said about Moises Caicedo with the nice stuff he said in the press. If someone comes in with 200 mil for Moises Caicedo tomorrow, he's gone. Like that's just how it is. Do you know what I mean? No one is. Well, very few players are safe from that kind of thing. But I'm just not convinced that. Even based on look. So we'll have a little look at his stats. No, I understand.
I mean, there might be a slight caveat to it as well, right? So, and how much this plays in, I don't know. But we've seen them ship players for a meal profit, for 2 mil profit. The difference between Cole Palmer, Enzo Fernandez, Moises Caicedo, both of those players were bought for 100 million. He was bought for 40. Yeah. So if you was to sell him for 80, you've made 40 mil profit. That's the...
Well, it's actually more than that now because he's in his third year. So he's probably worth, like on the books from what we bought him for, he's probably only worth like 20 mil.
Exactly.
20,
where Enzo
mil,
Fernandez and Moises Caicedo, you're going to have to push for more because you bought them for a lot more. So in that side of things, if he's unhappy, they want to get rid of him and someone comes in for 90, not a British transfer record, they've still made a hell of a lot of money. And we know what they love the money. They love the money. So I don't think that plays much of a part in terms of they can still make a bit without having it to be an astronomical amount, which is different for the other two.
Yeah, no, that's true, 100%, and that will definitely factor into it. But I foresee hubris, like I said, in the Alexander Isak went for 125. They will value him high. They will value Cole Palmer more than Alexander Isak. A, because he's younger. B, because of the mercurial rare type of player that he is. C, because he's English and homegrown. So if you sell him to another Premier League club, that's a homegrown. Do you know what I mean? It's like there's a few extra reasons that I could literally see them being like, no, we don't sell Cole Palmer for anything less than British transfer record. So I could see that happening. So let's just have a little look at Cole Palmer's season this season. And, just in general, how he's been doing.
See how he's getting on.
Yeah, so Cole Palmer has played 25 matches across all seasons this year. So already that's not a lot. Do you know what I mean? That shows you how long he's been out injured for. And do you know what I mean? Because what are we on? We must be getting close to 50 matches by now.
Yeah, well, we're what 31 in the Prem. So that's FA Cup. We've done. I want to say 2. Might be even 1.
Hull and Wrexham.
Yes,
And Wrexham was FA Cup, wasn't it?
Yeah, true. And then we've had 3 or something games in there. Champions League. Yeah, I mean,
Champions League was
definitely
8,
about 40
10
plus.
Yeah, about
so yeah, he's probably done a lot.
Plus. So he's missed a lot. Yeah, so he's played 20 times in the Premier League, 4 times in the Champions League, and once in the League Cup. He scored 10 goals across the season, 9 in the Premier League, 1 in the Champions League, and he's got 3 assists, which is quite low for him actually. 1 in the Prem, 2 in the Champions League. So, not having an absolutely phenomenal season, and yes, he's been injured, but like I say, when he's been back, he's not been as good. Okay, and I think the thing is, if we go back to the 24-25 season, last season, 15 goals, which he could maybe still get, and 11 assists. So his creative output was much better. But even so, that's his last 2 seasons combined. His last 2 seasons combined, right? 25 goals, 14 assists. His 23-24 season, 27 goals and 15 assists. So in the last 2 seasons, he's underperformed his debut season. So that debut season is the reason that you're thinking back to the Pochettino era, which is nearly 3 years ago now, and you are thinking, right, that's worth 130 mil. Yeah, let's just do it. But then you look at the last 2, and it's a gamble, isn't it? Like Mason Mount was a gamble. Do you know what I mean? Mason Mount was obviously an injury gamble, and that's the thing. It's not even just a lack of output; it's the injury stuff as well. So look, all I'm saying there is like, I think we probably as Chelsea fans put Palmer on that pedestal because we were there when it happened. Do you know what I mean? And it was just like, it was absolutely unbelievable. And even outside of not having amazing season-long performances, do you know what I mean? In terms of numbers and stuff, we know how much he has to the team. But does a Man United look at those last 2 seasons, excluding the Pochettino season, and say, that's 130 mil, especially after all of that money that's gone wrong on the likes of Romelu Lukaku, going back as far as Angel Di Maria, who was really expensive at the time, and that was, that didn't work as well. So, I just think it's an interesting thing with the Cole Palmer thing. So we'll move on from talking about selling him, because none of this has been about do we want to see the back of him. It's just exploring how reasonable I thought it
just
would be
understanding of what's going on in his head, what's going on in the club's head, which knock on there, it's probably empty space. But I just want to see Palmer back to where he was, what he was, even just half of it, man. Just to see him enjoying football, not on his face, but just in the way that he plays. I don't see.
It's definitely been better recently. Like, there was a really worrying period when the rumours started coming out, when he just looked really dejected all the time. And that was largely towards the end of the Maresca era as well, when he was trying to play his way. And outside of Maresca's instruction, it looked like as well, he was trying to do these little 1-2s and stuff, but obviously just kept getting funneled out wide. And since Rosenior's been here, even though, so this is something I want to get onto, is Cole Palmer under Liam Rosenior. Even though he's not performing super, super well, I think he looks a lot happier under Liam Rosenior. I see him getting frustrated on the pitch, which is a lot better than looking dejected. Do you know what I mean? He feels like he's missing opportunities now, rather than just not caring that he's not getting them.
Yeah, I mean, I never pick up on the frustration of a player to say that he's unhappy. That just means that he knows the levels that he should be playing at, and he's not reaching them. So that is why he's frustrated. And of course,
he wasn't looking like that under Maresca. He was looking like
no. He just.
That's what I mean. That's a promising thing already, I think.
The only thing I would say on that is, and it's probably it's a pet peeve, and I would say most of people agree. If you don't, in the comments, let me know. But when players throw up their arms and then they don't move, that does my head in. Yeah, I get that you're frustrated. I get it.
Pedro been doing that a lot recently.
But you don't stop. You could run, throw your ups while you're running. Fine, but don't just stop because something hasn't gone your way. That does annoy me.
Because you take yourself out of the game for a second, don't you? When you do that, you take yourself out of the game for a second. And the game carries on happening around you, and now you're out of position, or you're creating an opportunity, or you're creating or missing a piece of space that could give you an advantage. No, for sure, 100% agree.
Yeah, so that's the only thing. But the frustration at his players, and I fully get that, because do I need to say why? Yes, I will. They're terrible. They're terrible. And when it's not even when you've had such an amazing season with Poch and you can't reach those heights again. It's more the fact that they're not on the same IQ level. So you can't play your best game because you haven't got players around you that can match your level of intelligence. So things you want to do, little 1-2s, getting in the way of your shot. These little things will frustrate anybody when you've got players like that. There's very few players in this team that I would say that are on his wavelength. João Pedro, even at times... looks like he's not on the same wavelength, but you know there is something in there. They built something. It's just probably too much of. Cole Palmer's been out the team for too much. It's probably had a little bit there, but Reece James. I mean, I think Reece James could marry up to anybody on an IQ level. Yeah, for sure. Enzo at times, but even then, I think Enzo's a little bit off in terms of the pace. Caicedo, definitely. I think they've got quite a good link, but again, Caicedo doesn't really find himself that much in the attacking part of the pitch. But yeah, wingers wise, no. Esteval, but again, another player that's not on the pitch enough with him. So 100%. It's hard to make, but other than that, like Garnacho, Gittins, no. Pedro Neto, no. Delap was one that actually surprised me, considering they have had a relationship and they have built chemistry prior to this, and they actually did really well.
I think the thing is, though, like I think it's difficult with that one because there's this idea, isn't there? Like you could say the same thing about Liam Rosenior and Liam Delap. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? But the thing is, players and managers change over time. Yeah. So the player that Cole Palmer and Liam Delap were when they played together in the Man City Academy against that specific kind of opposition, the opposition's different and the players are different as well. Do you know what I mean? Cole Palmer's developed into potentially one of the best players in the world on his day, and Liam Delap has stagnated.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So yeah, you know, I get it, and I think there's this romantic thing in football, isn't there, where you're like, oh, there's a relationship there, so that probably means it's going to work. And the truth of the fact is, more often than not, it probably doesn't. Do you know what I mean? It's really, you know, it's like when people assume footballers' kids are going to be good because their dad was good or whatever, and that very rarely happens as well. Do you know what I mean? So, we'll for the last segment, I want to talk a little bit about Cole Palmer under Liam Rosenior tactically. I know we've talked about, like, does he look happier and is he enjoying his football? I think that he is. Do you think that Liam Rosenior has got what it takes to get the best out of Cole Palmer again if the rest of the team is added to in, like, you know, we'll talk about the summer, right? You know, we get a centre-back, we get a goalkeeper, we stop leaking goals as much. Do you know what I mean? As much. Maybe we get a left winger who is closer to the level of an Esteval, something like that. So then all of a sudden you've got João Pedro, Esteval, Cole Palmer, and maybe a left winger of a similar quality with that level of footballing IQ, which is just what you talked about. Do you think that Liam Rosenior, using those tools, would be able to get the best out of Cole Palmer again, or do you just think that Liam Rosenior is not good enough to work with a player of that caliber?
I don't think he's good enough. I said it and I stand by it, and I still stand by it now. And I love to be proven wrong, but at this point, it's not happened. Before he came in, and I think it might have been you, but I know we was on a stream and you asked me, do I think it's a downgrade? Yes. Downgraded in most senses in terms of acumen and tactical ability. I don't think Rosenior at the moment, because you don't know how he'll go on in his career. I think it's this kind of job is big for anybody, but I think it's too soon. It's too soon. He hasn't even developed his full tactical ability yet. Yeah. And you can see that in his naive decisions. You can see that in the things that he does and the way that he approaches games and things like that. I don't think he's at the right stage of his career to coach someone, because Palmer, out of most of the players in the team, have had the unfortunate scenario, even it was a short time, has been under one of the best coaches in world football, which is Pep Guardiola, and has learned, even if it was a year, 6 months, would have learned an incredible amount. And then he's had Maresca, again, a downgrade on Pep. You know, some would say the Timu Pep, right? But it's a downgrade. And then you've gone someone who's not even on that caliber. And it will frustrate your players. We talk about players not having the same IQ level or the same level. Even as a player, Rosenior wasn't at that level. So he can't even compare to Cole Palmer on the player level of IQ.
No, that's true.
And now we've got a player here that's been under one of the world's best renowned managers, learn all this, and still learning his trade, and now is trying to learn off someone who's not, for me, not even on the same level. And it can create a problem, because what it do is, does he respect Rosenior? I'll be honest, a lot of those players, I don't think they do, because yes, respect, it should be earned, but a lot of people that come into big clubs have the trophies behind them to sort of get that respect regardless, right? Or they have this, I mean, Jose Mourinho came with Champions League before he came in, but he had, even if he didn't have those trophies, he had this something about him.
Just a body of work that you could look at and go, oh, look, he did a thing.
Yeah, exactly. And Rosenior hasn't had that. I don't think, like, he spoke well in the beginning, and I've said this, he's starting to creep in some stupid stuff. And it can be to please one side, it can be to make a joke or make it lighthearted of something, but players could see that in a different sense. They, you know, I don't think it'll be to Potter's level where they're calling him Harry Potter and stuff like that, but the respect level drops, and if the respect level drops, and you don't think the manager is tactically, you know, even you'll see like things in games where they're passing out notes and stuff, and you look at the players' faces and you think, do they even understand, or is what he telling them that basic that they're thinking like, how the hell? And of course, this is just an assumption because I don't see what's on the notes, but they're going like, how is this guy a professional manager if he's you know, play forward or back? Like we don't know, but I don't think he has the tactical ability yet, or to coach, or even the capability of managing just on a management level, like I'm trying to think of the word now, like Poch's man manager level,
man management,
of star players.
Yeah, so this is a huge thing, isn't it? Because it's like, you know, Frank Lampard did really well with the academy kids, and the relative unknowns, and turned them into good players. But when Frank Lampard started getting given big money stars, and I say big money stars, I'm talking about Timo Werner and Kai Havertz and Timu Bakayoko and Hakim Ziyech and whatever, but ultimately with egos that have come in that have performed well in other places, that's when he started to struggle, wasn't it? So, and Liam Rosenior is used to working with the youngest squad in Europe at Strasbourg. I think I'm right in saying he won, if not in the top few, especially. I think like us, them and PSG make up like some of the top 6 youngest clubs in Europe. So no, definitely he's got not much in the way of playing with or managing big players, because he didn't play with, what was he, Brighton, Hull, where else did he play? Fulham? Did he play at Fulham?
I want to say Derby, but I could be wrong.
I think it was towards the end of his career, wasn't it? But and that's the thing, is even in his playing days, he hasn't got a huge amount of experience of, you know, being up against like the biggest stars and stuff. So it's a difficult one, man, because, you know, it always to me comes back to like comparisons to Maresca, and I still can't, and like, as far as the job went when they got the Chelsea job, we've had this conversation before. I know that you think that Maresca winning the championship was like really important, and I don't disagree with that. I think winning anything is obviously important, but I think the Strasbourg job is harder with the squad that he had. How well he did with Strasbourg in France with that really, really young squad is harder than winning the championship with a Leicester team that's basically still full of Premier League players. So I find it a weird one. And the thing is, it's like Maresca needed time. Maresca didn't just come in and smash it. Do you know what I mean? He needed time. And we scraped into fourth by the end of the season once he'd started to get things going, and we had a really good finish to the season.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I think it's easy to look at Maresca based on his time at Chelsea and say Maresca was obviously better than Liam Rosenior. But also, I think it's a little bit disingenuous to look at Liam Rosenior's time with the team so far in the situation that we're in and expect the same results. So yeah, it's a difficult one. But keeping it about Cole Palmer, I don't know. I understand what you're saying. Like, I think respect for the manager is so important, but I also don't know if that's necessary. I mean, yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? Because Cole Palmer played differently, but still well under Maresca. Do you know what I mean? And winning the championship doesn't earn Cole Palmer's respect for Enzo Maresca.
No.
Do you know what I mean? It's the day-to-day, the training and stuff. So I'm all about the copium, man. Do you know what I mean? I'm all about the copium. Like, I can't, like, you know, people are talking about like, we're going to be like Tottenham, we're going to be in relegation battles. Like, I can't believe that, man. I can't bring myself to believe that. So for reasons like that, I still think that Cole Palmer could perform well under Liam Rosenior, and I kind of have to believe that because I don't think Rosenior's going anywhere, kind of like we've mentioned. So any final words on Cole Palmer other than we'd love to see him back to where he was?
Yeah, well, if he can just produce even just a slight of it for the remainder of the season, I think it could be just that little bit that might give us a push, because that's how important his contribution could be. Mm-hmm. And if I look past the season, if he can just get back to some of that for the World Cup, please. Yeah,
I've just got a feeling he's not going to play much in the World Cup, man. We actually barely spoke about that at all. It's something I did want to pick up on a little bit, bearing in mind that he actually got selected for the squad. And I'm still in my head, I'm not convinced he's going to go. I'm not 100% convinced. I know by the quality, and you know, we talked about it loads today, you know, you can expect Cole Palmer to turn up in a moment, and he obviously did in the final against Spain and stuff. But I guess the question is like, who else is there? Because Saka's not had a great season, and
Bellingham, Foden, not a great season. Like
Jared Bowen.
It's weird, isn't it? Like, this is probably the most excited I've been for a World Cup. And the most excited I've been about our opportunity for a World Cup with the players, the manager. Yeah. But it seems to be at the opportunity, like the time we're just about to hit the moment, everybody is falling off. Every single player. And it doesn't look for good showing. But there's no one I would say that's performing to the level where that's a guaranteed starter in the 10. They're all just as bad as each other right now.
And it's probably more likely to be like Rice, Anderson and Wharton at this point, isn't it? Like a midfield three, or maybe a two with a three at the back. Do you know what I mean? Because it's about winning trophies at the end of the day, isn't it? So I don't know, man. I'm not 100% sure Cole Palmer is a nailed-on guarantee for the team, just based on his injury worries, how he's been performing this season. And it'll always be disappointing for a player to miss a World Cup, but because he's still young, he's got another 2 World Cups in him, hasn't he? At the end of the day. So it'd be interesting to see how he does over this international break. But that feels like a pretty good place to wrap it up. Kai, thank you very much for joining me. Guys, if you have tuned into my channel before, you probably are familiar with Kai from Behind the Dugouts. But if you are not, and this is your first time seeing him, the link is in the description. We've done a little collab thing, so his little picture should appear next to mine as well. Get over there, like and subscribe to his channel. Watch his content. He's much better at football analysis than I am. I'm just a vibes guy. That's why I get Kai on, because he actually knows what he's talking about. Nice one, guys. Thank you very, very much for sticking around with us for this episode of It's Time to Talk About. We spoke about Cole Palmer. I've got a lot of new ones coming up in the next few days with some really interesting and special guests. So keep it locked and we'll catch up with you really soon. Take it easy. Peace.